Hello. It's me again. I'm on my way to work at Walmart, and since it takes me at least half an hour, if not 45 minutes to get to work, I decide, even though nobody can see me, I just want to talk about something that's on my mind. Because when I'm at home, I was reading by Matthew A. King, and it's a good book. It's such a wonderful book. And I've only read the first 3 chapters, but I'm already loving it so much. And what I did is I actually decided. Oh, let's see. I got a notification that it was stopped due to bad connection. Okay, I don't know. Am I still live? Okay, I think I'm still live. Yeah. Okay, that's weird. Let's see. Yes, it says I'm live. See, here's what I hate about when I leave the apartment, my phone is connected to the Wi-Fi. So as I walk away, then the Wi-Fi signal goes down, and then once I'm a far enough distance away from the apartment, then my cell phone data takes over. So I guess I'm still live. Anyway, as I was saying, I was reading "I Will Abolish the Bow" by Matthew A. King, explaining how veganism is actually Christian and biblical, which is interesting, very interesting. So what I decided to do is I already have a paperback that I gave to my mom, and I have the Kindle edition, which I read, and I decided I'm going to buy a copy of this for my dad. And I want to tell you, I have my dad's address still on my Amazon account because I sent him the books. I sent him Torn by Justin Lee, and I sent him God and the Gay Christian by Matthew Vines. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I don't really talk to my dad hardly ever, but I know that my dad, he likes to read. He reads books, and he did enjoy Torn by Justin Lee, and then he also read God and the Gay Christian by Matthew Vines, and he said he didn't like Matthew Vines' attitude, whatever that means. And so here's the thing is the reason that I even buy books for my dad sometimes, the only reason I talk to my dad at all, is I find him to be a very interesting case subject. He's basically like my lab rat, except I'm not doing anything harmful. What I'm doing is, you see, my dad, oh man, he's a horrible person. Don't get me wrong, my dad's a horrible person. But here's the thing you have to understand is that I didn't have any contact with my dad for 23 years, from the time I was 9 up to the time I was 31 or whatever, 32, I can't even remember anymore. And then he came to visit me at my apartment in Independence I lived in at the time. And we played 6 games of chess. I beat him 5-1. And it's funny because my dad has a very similar brain to me in a way. He loves the game of chess. In fact, supposedly, that was his first date with my mom, is he wanted to teach her how to play chess, which is crazy. So yeah, we're alike in that way, but that's kind of where the similarities end. So here's the thing is, my dad had visited me in my apartment in Independence, and he apologized for some things, in the past, but mostly he apologized for, not being a father to me. And he kind of thinks that, me being what I am, not a real man, is because, he failed me as a father, which may be true. And so I'm going to let him feel bad because he deserves to feel bad, kind of. Well, not really, because nobody has a free will, but so here's what I decided to do is I decided to educate my own father, who I barely had any contact with. So I started by buying him books related to the homosexuality thing because, he's been in churches, he's been taught that homosexuality is a sin and an abomination, all that. So first, I was trying to educate him on this by buying him these books, and it's like, say, well, actually people are born this way. A lot of this is biological, and it's not just a sinful choice. And I decided to do that. And now I've just bought him a book about veganism, which is full of scripture verses promoting veganism as the application of the golden rule that Jesus taught. So we'll see how he responds to that. I mean, there's nothing to lose, right? So what's the worst that can happen? I mean, so what? Maybe he doesn't go vegan, but at least he'll read the information, and maybe he'll pass it on to somebody else who it means something to. So here's the thing, is that because my dad is interested enough in my life that he does try to contact me, I decide, well, you know what, I'll recommend some books to you, Dad. That's kind of what I do. Because I think that the average person who, the average person, when I try to explain to them about LGBT topics or veganism, they're like, well, who the fuck are you? That's people's response, because people, they don't care who I am. Nobody knows me outside of my mom, people I work with at Walmart, and the members of the Rainbow Pro-Life Alliance. But, so, and the vegan thing is actually far more important than the gay thing. It's far more important than the gay thing. It's far more important that people, stop murdering animals than that they understand the nuances of, sexual orientation and gender identity, obviously. That being said, I'm not going to discount the importance of understanding LGBT stuff, because there are people who are killing gays. It's not so much in the US, but in other countries, you can be executed or go to prison for life if anybody finds out you're gay. And it's just so sad. And I usually hate America, but one thing that's great about living in America right now is there's still some freedom of speech. There's still some freedom of expression. And I get to live my life, I'm out as a trans woman, and I know that I don't pass, but just recently I had to update my non-driver's ID. It's funny, I have a non-driver's ID because I don't drive, but I have to have a photo ID. So I went to the DMV, and I had to get a new picture taken for my non-driver's ID, because it had been 6 years since the last one, and I don't even look like I did in 2018. My whole face is different. My face is more narrow. I'm just prettier all over. I've got my long hair, got my ponytail. I just feel so much prettier. And I was explaining to my mom how I didn't used to care how I look because I was too ugly being a man. That why fix my hair? Why care about my weight? Why eat right? But now that I actually look somewhat more female, I actually care about taking care of my body, and I care about looking good now, which is really funny. But before I finish walking all the way to work, I want to talk about some gay moments. That's the title of this live right now. I want to talk about how some things that made me realize I was gay and what that means. Because I did try to explain it. I have a podcast. It's on my Twitch. It's on my YouTube. I forgot what it was. Yeah, it was called I'm Gay But. I explained for like 30 minutes. I explained that I'm gay and that I am attracted to men, but that I choose not to engage in sexual relationships with men. And here's the thing that's very interesting about it, is that I worked in the floral department, okay? I want to tell you the story about how I first realized that I was just extremely gay, okay? So, I worked in the floral department in Independence, and the designer they had, he's an openly gay man. He has a husband. Everyone knows he's gay. We didn't talk about it all the time, but one day I decided to ask him, how did you know that you were gay? And he told me a story. He told me about when he was just a kid. There was this guy, some employee or whatever, that would clean a pool. They would clean the pool, so this designer, he would go volunteer to help clean the pool just because he liked that guy and the way he looked, because he was a young, muscly, kind of good-looking man, and so Franklin volunteered to go help the pool just so he could look at that beautiful man. And I'm like, okay, that's funny. That's funny. And see, but what he said to me was and at that age it wasn't sexual. See, here's the thing: is the designer from the floral department, he helped me understand that a person can be gay but not in a sexual way. It's totally possible to be attracted to someone, think they're beautiful, and you could look at them, but you don't want to have sex with them. And see, here's the thing: is there are so many elements of people's romantic attraction, or even if some people call it sexual attraction, but I think romantic and sexual attraction are different things. But you can totally be attracted to someone the way they look, or the sound of their voice. And I've had some gay moments, people. I really have. I've had some very gay moments. And so there was this guy, okay? There was this guy, and he's blind. This guy was blind. And I would always say hi to him, and as he passed by or whatever, because we both worked at Hy-Vee in Independence, and then he asked me, "Are you like gay or trans?" And I'm like, "Well, I said, you're barking up the right tree. How did you guess?" And he's like, "Well, the name and the voice." So yeah, sure, I have a name, Chastity. But I also sound somewhat like a man. So he thought I was either gay or trans, but he wasn't sure which. So that's interesting. And well, what ended up happening is we ended up having a little bit of a misunderstanding, where he thought I was hitting on him, and he's like, "Well, I need to tell you, I'm straight." And I asked him, "Well, if you're blind, how do you know?" And he told me, this blind guy, he told me, "There are other senses besides sight." I'm like, "Oh, well, thanks." But it was just a thing, because every time he would go by, and he didn't know I was there, but I'm like, "Hi, Darvell," and then the designer's like, told the Chastity, "Quit trying to pick him up." And I'm like, was I trying to flirt with this blind guy? What was I trying to pick him up? Was I? I don't look, consciously. No, I was not. Consciously, I wasn't trying to hit on this person. I wasn't trying to gay. I wasn't trying to gay relationship this blind person. I wasn't trying to on a conscious level, but on another level, subconsciously, maybe. And then there was this other trans woman who worked at the same store, and they worked in the pharmacy. And one time they went by the full department, and they're like, "Hi, Chastity," and And then I just like, I was like, I just freaked out. And I said to Bailey, my coworker, I'm like, she talked to me. And Bailey's like, Chastity, you're blushing. Like, oh man, I am so gay right now. It's true. See, I've never told these stories before in my entire life, but there were gay moments like this where I just realized, wait, I'm attracted to this blind man, and definitely this other trans woman who just works at the same store as me. And like, I am so gay. I figured out the mystery. I totally figured out the mystery. And I didn't really talk about it. People know I'm trans. I've been open about that for years. But people didn't really know that. They didn't know these stories of how I figured these things out. And it's just more and more I'm just realizing, like, whoa, I really am gay. But the thing that's important to understand is I've been preaching for years that even if cis women, even if they're straight, they should still avoid relationships with men, because the chance of getting raped or murdered by your typical cis straight man is very high. And it's just straight heterosexual relationships just never work out. They just never work out. And that's because the same problem always happens in straight marriages. You know how they get married, they have sex because they're sexually attracted to each other, but then the woman gets pregnant and the man doesn't want to take any responsibility, so he just divorces her or dumps the woman. Then she's a single mother. You know how it goes. Straight relationships are just doomed, you know? Like, they never go well. Maybe 1% of the time a heterosexual marriage can work if, they're on the same playing field. You know what I'm saying? But straight marriage almost never works. But, oh man, that's how I see it, And I just been realizing how, and maybe this is because I'm extremely gay, but I just think about how gay marriages actually, I think they have a chance. And the reason I think gay marriages have a chance to result in happiness is, for one thing, they're either both men or they're both women, and they're on an equal playing field. They don't fall into these roles like, oh, well, this is your job because you're the woman and I'm the man and I do this. Because that's what happens in straight marriages. The man wants to boss the woman and she does all the work. But if they're both men, I picture two gay men in a marriage like, yo, dude, want to play some Minecraft? Yeah, you got it, bro. Let's do this. Let's do this mining, That's my idea of a gay marriage between men. And then, let's see, a lesbian marriage, so I don't know anything about lesbian marriage, but if I had to guess, I think a lesbian marriage is kind of like, hey, let's do a just chatting Twitch stream and talk about fun stuff. That's what I think of gay marriage. Like, they're gonna watch their favorite shows together. They're gonna go on walks, and they're just gonna have a lot of fun, just like the gay men do. That's my idea of a lesbian marriage. Are these pictures in my head accurate? I don't know. What the heck do I know about marriage? I'm a almost 37-year-old virgin. I don't know anything about marriage except the horrible tragedy that was my parents' marriage and divorce. That's all I know. So I'm not exactly marriage positive when it comes to straight people, but I support gay marriage so much to the point I want a gay marriage. But not the sex. No, I don't want that part of it. But I just, I have all these gay thoughts. I have these gay moments, and I just really need to release this because I don't have anyone to talk with about these types of things. And I just thought, you know what, maybe telling my story will help somebody else who they don't realize they're gay yet. And maybe listening to me and how I figured out will help them realize the same thing about themselves before it's too late. You know, that's kind of my hope. And, yeah, I'm almost at work, but there is one more thing I definitely do want to say. And I'm kind of shy about saying this, but if you listen to everything I just spoke, I want you to understand that there is another person that I am also highly attracted to. And someone who joined the Rainbow Pro-Life Alliance as a board member. And when I first saw them, my thoughts exactly were, oh my God, look at that face. You look like my next mistake. Only Taylor Swift could really accurately say exactly what I felt when I met this person. They're pro-life, they're vegan, and much like me, they are neither completely male nor completely female in a strict biological sense. And that's the truth. And I just am extremely gay. I really am. And I just wanted to share this. I wanted to share this because I've never had a chance to talk about these feelings before. I just don't really have anyone that I've been able to have that type of depth of relationship to really talk about these things. But yeah, that's just the truth of it. And I hope that this has helped someone in some way if they listen to this video I've done. So, if this has touched your life in some way, please let me know. And now I have to work all night at Walmart. But I feel better because I finally got my thoughts out. I was able to speak what I've been feeling inside for so long now. Goodbye, everyone. And remember, be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.